Blustery trade winds blow under a cloudy sky as the crowd gathers on Ford Island at Pearl Harbor for the dedication of the USS Oklahoma Memorial. The guests include a large contingent from Oklahoma, including some crew members who survived that day of infamy when a Japanese air assault fired as many as 9 torpedoes into the hull of the Oklahoma. The attack sank the ship and killed 429 officers, sailors, and Marines, the second greatest loss of life at Pearl Harbor on December 7th.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we will right a terrible wrong. We will finally dedicate a memorial to the 429 sailors and Marines that have not yet been recognized properly.
The memorial features marble columns inscribed with the names of the crew members that died in the attack. Rear Admiral Doug McLean recounts that day when hundreds of men were trapped below the Oklahoma's decks, some men waiting to be rescued from compartments filling with water, others searching for escape routes.
32 sailors were eventually rescued from the hull of USS Oklahoma. Many survivors swam from the ship and came ashore where this memorial sits today.
The memorial's designer, architect Don Beck, explains that the columns are reminiscent of a Navy tradition called manning the rails, when sailors stand along the rails of their ship while returning from a deployment or to offer a salute during special occasions.
Each one of these white standards or marble columns represents each lost soul on the ship. And the black granite, it's not engraved, it's black, but it's to represent the ship.
Members of the U.S. House Committee on Natural Resources are present. The committee has jurisdiction over the national parks system and national memorials such as the Arizona and now this one for the Oklahoma.
We're here today to celebrate and acknowledge that those who sacrificed on the Oklahoma, that those who sacrificed in that war, created the foundation of an acknowledgement, a living acknowledgement of the values that we hold dear as Americans and as human beings. That's why this is so important. That's why when Tom Cole spoke to me about our opportunity as members of the Armed Service Committee, and the happy coincidence as well that I was on the Resources Committee that has jurisdiction over parks, that we could put something together to make this symmetry come true. Something was missing, and it was the Oklahoma Memorial. And so we hear all the time in the press these days about partisanship and division and people trying to score points on one another. But the real work of the Congress is to take those values we hold dear as Americans and turn them into legislation that reflects the best in us. And that's why I was so pleased to work with Tom and Mary and others on the Armed Services Committee and in the Resources Committee to see that this would come true today.
And on this day, 66 years after the Oklahoma went down, the spirits of her crew members are honored by this gathering and surviving crew members like Signalman First Class Paul Goodyear. Through the crush of media covering the event, he walks to the memorial's flagpole to raise for the first time the colors of the country he defended. It's a symbolic, historic gesture to his ship and shipmates.
With this hand salute by Paul Goodyear, we officially turn over the Oklahoma Memorial to the National Park Service.